Bluebell ice cream is the go-to dessert on a hot and humid day for Texans. This ice cream brand that dates back a century has slowly expanded throughout the United States, picking up more fans in the process. From its origins to health scandals, this is the story of Bluebell ice cream. The company that is now known as Bluebell started in 1907 as the Brenham Creamery Company. The name made sense at the time for the men who started it, since it was located in the small town of Brenham, Texas. Dairy farmers in the region would bring their excess cream to the Brenham Creamery Company, where it would be turned into butter. That was the first and only business for a few years until ice cream made it to the production lines in 1911. Ice cream was a small operation at first. The Texas State Historical Association notes only 2 gallons of ice cream were made a day inside ice-filled wooden tubs in those early years. It would be another 4 decades before ice cream became the main focus. The company made butter until 1958, according to Bluebell's history on its website. The pivot was a good choice, as it's hard to imagine Bluebell butter becoming as big of a cult favorite as Bluebell's ice cream has.
Folks everywhere just can't seem to resist the rich homemade taste of Bluebell ice cream.
Bluebell is Texas through and through, so it's only natural that the brand is named after a Texas wildflower. In 1930, the company changed its name to Bluebell Creameries after 19 years of going by Brenham Creamery Company. The switch was due to General Manager E.F. Cruz, a teacher who was brought on in 1919 and whose descendants are still involved with the company. Cruz was tasked with writing the company, and he figured a new name would help. Cruz chose the popular Texas wildflower, the Bluebell, as the name of the company. Bluebell flowers bloom in the spring, just around the same time hot weather brings ice cream cravings. Cookies and cream ice cream is a favorite found pretty much wherever you can find ice cream these days. Depending on which history you choose to believe, you have Bluebell to thank for that. The Bluebell products page for its cookies and cream flavor makes a bold origin claim, saying the company was the first to create the popular flavor. It's a claim under a fair amount of dispute. In a 2006 New York Times story, writer R.W. Apple Jr. wrote that Bluebell didn't invent the flavor, but certainly pioneered it by originally adding Oreo cookies from Nabisco by hand. South Dakota State University claims that dairy plant manager Shirley Sees and students Joe Leadham and Joe Van Treek were the first to invent what they called Oreo ice cream in 1979. Steve Harrell of Harrell's Ice Cream claims he first invented the flavor after starting his company in 1973. And then there's John Harrison from Edie's, who told the Chicago Sun-Times in 2003 that he was the first to put Oreo cookies in ice cream. Bluebell tried to cement its name in cookies and cream history by filing for a trademark for the flavor in 1981. The application claims Bluebell's first use was in December of 1978, but by 1984, the trademark application was either refused or dismissed by the office. Today, ice cream lovers can find Bluebell on the shelves in 23 states. Most of the locations are in the South, along with parts of Colorado and Indiana. While some might consider that a relatively small distribution footprint for such a well-known brand, it used to be even smaller. Bluebell ice cream didn't even make it to Houston, around 70 miles away, until 1960. The company was also rather slow to make it out of the Lone Star State and didn't cross the Texas border until the 1980s. One thing that keeps the distribution limited is the company's commitment to a direct store delivery program. This means that the company doesn't outsource deliveries of its product to a third-party company. Only Bluebell employees handle the product until it makes it to the grocery store. Today, there are factories in Sylacauga, Alabama, and Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, to help with getting the ice cream to farther reaches than Texas.
Look, a Bluebell truck! Mom, follow him!
Hang on, kids!
In 1969, Bluebell's president, Howard Cruz, created what would become the brand's most popular offering, homemade vanilla. Cruz told the Houston Chronicle that Bluebell was the first to use homemade when releasing a vanilla flavor, though that's just as hard to prove as the cookies and cream claim. Regardless, homemade vanilla was a huge hit. Bluebell's website says homemade vanilla is the company's most popular ice cream, and with good reason, citing a, quote, special hand-cranked flavor. It's not, however, literally hand-cranked ice cream, as it would take a whole lot of hands doing a whole lot of cranking to make as much homemade vanilla as the company sells. In 2014, according to Al.com, homemade vanilla made up around 60% of sales, followed by Dutch chocolate and cookies and cream. Blue Belle was quickly growing throughout the 2010s when it was faced with the biggest scandal in company history in 2015. In February of that year, a listeria outbreak was traced back to the Brenham, Texas factory by state health officials. Listeria can be deadly for pregnant women, newborns, the elderly, and anyone with a compromised immune system. And it was on the company to correct the issue in the name of public health. According to a government report, health officials found more listeria in a different product 2 weeks after the first testing. And then more listeria at the factory in Oklahoma. Improper cleaning and a hot water issue caused the listeria growth. 5 people in Kansas went to the hospital with listeria traced back to Blue Belle ice cream. The public lost trust in the product, and Blue Belle had to shut down its factories. But the problems didn't end there. Blue Belle didn't make a formal statement to customers, and the company and Paul Cruz, who was president at the time, were charged in federal court with covering up the incident by the Justice Department. Blue Belle pled guilty and paid $17.25 million in fines and $2.1 million to settle a civil False Claims Act case. Cruz was also charged with 7 felony counts of covering up the listeria outbreak by telling employees to clear out potentially contaminated ice cream without telling retailers or consumers. For a brand associated with down-home ice cream and product names like homemade vanilla, Blue Belle sure does have a big influence in the total ice cream market. Blue Belle has regularly been among the top 5 selling ice cream brands in the United States, despite distributing to less than half of the country. It was the 3rd largest ice cream manufacturer with 6.4% of the ice cream market in 2014, according to the New York Times. The listeria outbreak caused a major shakeup, though. It fell out of the top 15 ice cream brands following the recall, according to Forbes. Today, Blue Belle has moved back up in the ranks. Ibis World listed it as the 4th largest ice cream company in 2020. The first is Unilever, which makes Breyers, among others. The second is Nestle, which is known for Haagen-Dazs, and the third is Wells Enterprises, which makes Blue Bunny ice cream. In terms of individual ice cream brands rather than overall companies, Statista notes that Blue Belle is 3rd after Ben & Jerry's at number 1 and Haagen-Dazs at number 2. There would be no ice cream without milk, so a Blue Belle advertising employee decided that there was no better spokes-character than a cow. Specifically, a Jersey cow from LaGrange, Texas, named Belle. Belle has made many appearances over the past couple of decades. In a 1991 commercial, Belle sang opera while a little girl, rabbits, and piglets ran to find where the singing was coming from. Meanwhile, a voiceover told viewers that,
And her milk was divine.
Belle made it online in 2018 with a blog, and the first post announced that she'd been around Blue Belle for a very long time. It also mentioned all the Blue Belle commercials featuring cows, and the fact that Belle is a cow that sings and wears pearls, in addition to being featured on all of the ice cream cartons. The blog didn't last, but like pretty much everything else on the internet, the words of Belle live on. Ice cream should not be anywhere near the top of the list when it comes to people searching for health food. But that doesn't mean there aren't ice creams that are slightly less unhealthy than others. Blue Belle got onto the health fad early when it released a set of diet ice creams in the 1960s. According to Houston History magazine, the first was the low-calorie Slenderette. That was followed by a number of flavors that used NutraSweet in 1989. NutraSweet is a brand that makes the artificial sweetener aspartame. And the Blue Belle ice creams that used it were the first diet ice creams to come in half-gallon containers. Blue Belle continues to target health-conscious consumers today with homemade vanilla light, which is like the brand's most popular flavor, just with less fat and calories. There's also no sugar-added country vanilla, which is described as an old-fashioned vanilla that reflects the, quote, rich, creamy flavor of the country. This is one upside to Blue Belle's limited distribution. It's a lot easier to pinpoint where it came from. Houston History magazine detailed one case in 1991 where that limited distribution played a part in returning a woman lost in the Grand Canyon to her home. When found, the woman couldn't remember who she was, where she was from, or how she got to the Grand Canyon. She was able to recall 3 things to a sheriff, however. One was the Del Champs grocery chain. The second was that there is a river. And the third was a Blue Belle slogan. The sheriff worked together with Blue Belle to give meaning to those 3 statements. Turns out, Blue Belle distributed ice cream in the Del Champs grocery stores in the part of Texas that's divided from Louisiana by the Sabine River. When local news stations reported the story, the lost woman's parents were able to identify her. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more MASH videos about your favorite treats are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.